Welcome to VisionPlusMag.com, the #1 eyewear portal to eye care and eyewear fashion, and you are watching In Focus, where our conversations take center stage. Today, we have Mr. Thomas Burkhardt, President of Marchon Eyewear, and insight from Mr. Ketan Parikh of Sterling Meta Plast. How has your journey, as President, been since you assumed the role? What has been your primary vision?
I have to say, after 27 years career, I'm probably having the most fun I've had in my entire professional life. And I see it as an incredible honor to lead this company. Marchon just celebrated its 40th anniversary last year. It's one of the, as you know, one of the biggest and most successful eyewear companies, the only American company in a phalanx of European players. And I'm only the 4th president of the company. There was our founder, Burkhardt, who created the company together with his 2 partners and got it to global fame. And then there were only 2 more presidents over the 40 years of the company. So it's a big responsibility to prepare the company, to prepare Marchon for the next 40 years. And obviously I don't take it lightly. You know, Marchon had an incredible history, and the first 40 years were eventful, but got it to, I think, a very important and leading position in the eyewear industry. But we need to change, we need to adapt. The industry is changing, the consumer is changing, retail is evolving, and we need to evolve as we go along with it. So my key function, in a sense, is to understand, you know, what are these changes and how can we prepare for the future? And that's what I've been pretty much busy with for the last 2.5 years.
What are your key plans and priorities for the next 5 years?
Probably doesn't come as a surprise that one of the key areas is digitalization. I was not somewhat surprised, but when I joined 8 years ago, I was interested to see how much of what we do is still very manual and very done in a very traditional way. But our consumers are evolving. They want to interact with us like they're interacting in their private life with regards to, you know, digital touch points, e-commerce, B2B e-commerce, the role of customer service has been changing. That has to change. E-commerce with consumers is evolving, clearly. And then behind the scenes, everything we do, from designing product to planning, order fulfillment, virtually everything has been digitalized or is being digitalized. So that is, I think, a big theme that goes through virtually everything we're doing, and a lot of our work and also investments are related to that.
With a portfolio of prestigious brands, how do you ensure each brand maintains its unique appeal while contributing to the company's overall success?
It actually starts with finding the right brands. One of the first things I was helping the company with when I joined was to get a better understanding how we segment our brands and how our brands are selected to meet different consumer needs. We ended up with 3 pillars: fashion, lifestyle, and performance, that very much match how consumers and end users of our products approaching the category. Fashion, more female-driven, more trend-driven, more sunglass-driven. On the other side, performance, which is much more innovation-driven, material, people looking for lens story, material stories, innovation. This is where our sports brands sit. And then lifestyle kind of brings this together. So you have the fashion component, you have the experience we have in making performance eyewear, and kind of the best of both worlds coming together in what most people are looking for is a nice frame that fits their budgets, fits their lifestyle. So within that, finding the right brands that represent fashion, lifestyle, and performance at different price tiers gives you very quickly, you can get to a matrix of brands that are complementary, but are necessarily not sitting on top of each other. So that was the groundwork. And then obviously in the day-to-day, we need to understand in the design of our collections, our assortments, that we're making sure that each brand is true to its identity. And that seems to be working.
As this is your first visit to India, what are your thoughts on the market, and how will Sterling Eyewear drive Marchon's growth?
Honestly, it's a childhood dream to come to India. I've been wanting to come for so many years, never had the opportunity, so I'm excited to be here, and I'm looking forward to this week, as I'll be meeting customers, I'll be seeing stores, as I'm experiencing at least Mumbai and Delhi. India is such an exciting and dynamic market for us. I mean, Ketan and I, we speak almost every month. We have at least the interactions. Obviously, as a board member of Sterling, we have regular board meetings. And I always find it fascinating to understand from Ketan and his family how the market is evolving, how at so multiple levels there's a dynamism, be it in luxury, be it in the premium segment, but also with an emerging middle class, that the entry price is evolving, the thirst for brands, the hunger for design. It's basically what is happening here in a very accelerated time is what happened maybe in Europe and the US over decades. So it's all just compressed into a shorter amount of time, and it's very exciting.
So we want to really show him the true India, which is the best part of India, with all the skyscrapers and the new coastal road and things like that, as well as the shanties that are around us. We want to show him where the optical trade started in Kalbadevi. In same ways, we wanted to show him all the key department stores, all the key chain stores, as well as the smaller stores or single pop and mom stores, because this is really the key for our success. Not only selling the products to the biggest department stores or the biggest chain stores, but also very, very equally important is every single store that is run individually or 2-3 store owners. So we want to take him to each and every store and make him see that the business not only comes from here, but it comes from here. So we want to make sure that each and every person is important to us. So we want to definitely take him to Lawrence and Mayo, Ganga, Himalaya, GKB, Titan, and all the department stores, Shoppers Stop, Lifestyle, and also take him to our smaller stores, which are the boutique stores in Mumbai as well as in New Delhi. So he gets the real feel of India, not just the superficial feel of India. And more importantly, we want to make sure that he has some spicy Indian food.
With the rise of smart glasses, what innovations is Marchon Eyewear pursuing to set industry benchmarks?
The area of smart glasses is obviously rapidly evolving, and I think everybody's trying out what is the killer app that really will get people to wear a smart glass, and it's fascinating to that. We're staying very close to it. Having said that, we're not a technology company. We're an eyewear company. We pride ourselves in our knowledge and our experience in creating beautiful wearable eyewear. But we are open to partnering with companies that come from the technology space and maybe looking for a partner that is bringing the respective eyewear knowledge to the field. And certainly, I believe in the next 3 to 5 years, I think we'll see major steps in the direction of people actually wearing smart glasses and not seeing it just as a novelty, so to speak.
How is Marchon Eyewear addressing sustainability in its products and operations?
Sustainability has been a big topic for us, probably for the last 5 years. I think it was in 2018 when we launched our first sustainable frame that was made from castor bean oil, actually, instead of fossil fuel-based materials. It's an interesting topic in the sense that the consumer is not yet asking for sustainable eyewear, but we still think it's our obligation and our responsibility to provide more sustainable options. The consumer also doesn't necessarily want to spend more money, but if you give her or him the choice between a more sustainable frame, they will go for the most sustainable frame, as long as it's the same quality, as long as it's the same wearability, obviously style that is there. We tried to do this as pragmatic as possible, and started with the materials that our frames are made from. As I mentioned before, castor beans was one of the first ingredients that we used to substitute fossil fuels. We now have a whole menu of, I think, over a dozen of different sustainable materials that our designers and product developers are using. And I'm proud to say we're ending 2024 with around about 37% of our frames made from more sustainable materials. And I've set the goal for our teams by the end of 2025, so only in a year, to move that number up to 50%. In addition to this, we have our integrated sustainability program called Eyes on Tomorrow. We are replacing packaging with sustainably produced cardboard, biodegradable plastic bags, etc. So we're looking at the entire value chain and how can we make more sensible choices. Again, but not forcing the consumer to pay more. So trying to do that in a cost-neutral way, and obviously also margin-neutral way. And so far, it's been a very exciting and very rewarding journey.
How does Marchon balance its omni-channel approach between physical retail, e-commerce, and emerging digital touchpoints?
Digital is a fast evolving theme also with regards to how the end consumer is experiencing our category, but the vast majority of our sales are obviously still done in physical stores. Pre-COVID, it was around about 95% was physical with 5% digital. The consumer's gotten a little bit more used to it. So now if I look at industry averages, we're probably looking at 10% e-commerce to 90% brick and mortar. And we want to make sure that we're delivering in both areas the optimal experience. The brick and mortar, again, is still most important because at the end, the consumer wants to see and feel, particularly feel the frame on their face. But what is helping in e-commerce, and where we're working with some of the leading e-commerce players in different markets around the world, is that technology will now help with much better fit selection. Just 5 years ago, for instance, when you take a virtual try-on, just 5 years ago on our own e-commerce site, people that did virtual try-on were less likely to convert to a sale because it was so bad that it turned them off from doing it. Now the virtual try-on has improved so much that actually we see this in falling return rates, that actually the choice of the right frame for your face and for the size of your head is very much guaranteed. So again, the theme as in technology is evolving, consumers are more comfortable with this, and certainly we see e-commerce taking a bigger role, but they go hand in hand. And as I said, 90% is still physical brick and mortar, and I think that number will still provide the vast majority of sales.
So yeah, I think, as you know, one of our largest chain store did online business only for X number of years, and he burned his money, so he got his valuation right, but he was never successful till he decided to do omni-channel, so which is really the brick and mortar. So the success really for our trade at this point in time, even though digitalization is extremely important, I think the brick and mortar stores or the pop and bomb stores or the chain stores are there to flourish for a very long period of time. I think for an eyewear, with all the facilities that you give online, the real feeling of actually wearing it, feeling comfortable, having your eyes checked up in a very thorough way, and checking the fitting of the glasses is perfect. I don't think the brick and mortar business is going to go away anyway soon. While I agree with Mr. Thomas very clearly that yes, it could be about 10% of the business, but I still feel that for next, at least in the foreseeable future, the brick and mortar stores will contribute at least 85-90% of the business.
What are your key priorities and aspirations for Marchon Eyewear in the next 5 years, particularly in terms of growth, partnerships, and industry impact?
It's a growth agenda for the next 5 years. I think eyewear is a scale game in the sense that scale provides you with opportunities to provide better value to consumers, and value is what our end users are looking for, and that they're getting the right quality, the right design for the money that they're willing to spend. And in order to drive scale, we need to grow, and that be it through the acquisition of new brands, be it through the acquisition of potential other eyewear companies in territories where we're not as strong as we're, for instance, in the US, and scale in the investment in our own capabilities. Digitalization, for instance, is one of the topics. So luckily, Marchon is part of VSP Vision. VSP Vision, one of the largest integrated vision care companies in the world, now with almost $10 million in sales. So thanks to that ownership, we have the means and the capital to make those investments, and that is what you'll see definitely over the next 5 years. So it's an ambitious goal. I think we can at least double the size of the company in that period, organic and inorganic.
Do you have a favorite eyewear brand or style that you personally love wearing?
You can't ask me what my favorite brand is. That would be like asking what my favorite child is. In terms of styles, I prefer chunky, big acetate styles because I have a relatively big head. And every time somebody tries to put a thin metal frame on my head, it just doesn't work. So I'm, ever since I started wearing glasses, which actually happened while I was working for Marchon, I'd rather make a statement. So kind of big, heavy frames seem to be working well for my face. So actually, I didn't even pay attention this morning. This is a cut and gross frame, which obviously Sterling is the proud distributor for here in India, which is a beautiful brand, incredible quality.
From your perspective, what are the key similarities and differences between the eyewear markets in India and the Middle East?
Certainly observed in the Middle Eastern market. I think to a degree, you may see this also in India, and you tell me if you agree. It's a continued bifurcation of the market. The consumer is looking for brands that they're proud to wear, often luxury brands, but also really strong lifestyle brands like Calvin Klein, for instance. And obviously luxury brands like in our case, like a Ferragamo or like a Cotton Gross here, or they're looking for value. And this is something that we've observed in apparel for a long time. Particularly women are happy to mix H&M or Zara with a Chanel jacket. And I think we're seeing something very similar in eyewear. So value, enterprise, affordable lifestyle, and brands that are proud of wearing, often luxury brands. This is kind of where the market is bifurcating. And the brands that are stuck in the middle, they need to figure out what they're going to offer and what really the value is to offer. It doesn't mean there's not room in the mid-tier for brands to grow, but they need to have a very distinctive point. For instance, like a performance brand that comes with innovation to the market. Coming back from the Middle East, I saw that very much in terms of just the retail environment that represented that, and I think you may have similar observations here.
Yeah, I think so. Slightly adding to that, because India is still in a kind of developing stage.
Yeah.
So we see a huge opportunity for the mid-tier brands because a large part of the Indian population is still coming out of, let's say, lower middle class, going up to upper middle class, or middle class going up. So we see the potential of the private labels as well. It's a huge potential because of the size of the population, because they want fashionable stuff, but they cannot pay for it. So they want it at an affordable price. And that's where like some of our brands like Scott comes into play.
That's the value part.
And I see a huge potential of the mid-level brands like our Calvin Klein, Nike, Tommy Hilfiger, French Connection, because the people who wore the private label brands now want a brand.
And then they move up.
They move up. So and of course the people who have already worn those brands and who have a lot of money, and as you know that we are becoming richer by the day. So there's a huge percentage of people who are actually buying luxury products. So luckily for us in India, I think there is a very decent size of market at all levels. Of course, the biggest market is at the lower level because of the size of the population. And then comes the mid-tier brands. We are as our company, with Marchon and Sterling partnership, we are very, very strong in the mid-tier. I think we would say, proudly, we can say that we are one of the strongest brand provider in India market. Luxury, we have a few brands that are doing exceptionally well now. Just the new addition is Linda Farrow. And I'm sure with some more of our partnership, we hope to get more luxury brands. But we also understand that Kering and LVMH are doing business directly. And there are limited luxury brands in the market. But for us, we are very happy because we are catering to at least 75% of the market in a very strong way.
From a global perspective, what changes do you see coming in the eyewear industry?
Yeah, with regards to the eyewear industry, I think you'll see continued consolidation. I think it's a very fragmented industry, but if you compare eyewear to other categories, consumer-facing categories, you will see the consumers gaining benefits from companies acquiring scale, as I mentioned before, because once you have scale, you can provide better value. Your cost structure is better. You can actually deliver a better product. You can deliver more innovation to the market. And that's where I think as part of this consolidation, as I said before, we want to be an active partner, an active player. And in this, I think this we will help to transform the industry in that respect. So at this point, it's also for retailers. The fragmentation is still holding back and taking value out of the market. I think in that consolidation, I think there will be a lot of positive.
Any message that you would like to share with our readers?
Well, I would like to thank the opticians and partners, be it here in India as well as virtually every market that we're operating, because one of the key things I find motivating working in this industry, we're not only making people look good, but at the end we're helping them to succeed. And we're helping them to succeed in life, and both professionally and personally, and lead a more successful and healthier life. And opticians are key to this. They are the key to this, understanding what vision correction a consumer needs and putting the right products on their faces. That is, I would think, such a rewarding position to be in, and we're happy to be their partners and be their supporters.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas Burkhardt and Mr. Ketan Parikh, for talking to VisionPlus.